High, higher, even higher, from 1.7% last year to 3.7, 4.2, 6.8, now 8.54%. America's soaring inflation is inflicting pain on household budgets across the United States. While analysts have been warning about the dollar's impending collapse, the dollar has risen to the strongest it's been in 20 years. But in spite of the dollar's strong position, everything is going up. Fuel, groceries, labor, lumber. At $5 a pop, even buying a loaf of bread is a decision-making process. Americans are spending $327 more per month this year than last year. Not since Reagan was in the White House have inflation rates been this high, and it's only going to get worse. And while everyone is scrambling to stay ahead of the curve, one man knows exactly how it's done. He's been in this situation many times before. He's looked inflation in the eye and beat it down with his nose-to-the-ground strategies. In 2000, when the best in the business were spiraling downward, his stock was on the rise. In 2008, when dark clouds gathered over the banking world and the financial world was crumbling and inflation soaring, he was ahead of the curve with uncanny stock picking. CNBC calls him the prophet. I call him the inflation beater. He's now unleashing yet another inflation crusher to help Americans from all walks escape from these uncertain times with what he calls the $4 inflation stock. And today, we've got him in our studios to talk us through it.
Hi, I'm Whitney Tilson, 20-year Wall Street veteran and founder of Empire Financial Research. Today, I'm going to show you how just one stock could have a dramatic impact on your wealth. It might seem crazy, but I know better than most how a single well-timed stock purchase can produce incredible sums of cash. In 1997, before my hedge fund days, I did something many people would call unthinkable. I took every penny in my wife's retirement account, with her permission of course, and invested $20,000 into America Online. A year later, I cashed out for $120,000. It blew my mind how quickly I'd made $100,000. Why am I telling you this? Because I see a chance for you to do something similar today. See, when I bought AOL, it was trading for right around $4 per share. I went all in because I felt many investors were missing the big picture. Demand for AOL services was exceeding supply. The company had an elite management team. It was in an industry that was just taking off. And it was a market leader over several inferior competitors. I see a similar situation unfolding right now with a small stock that just went public in 2021. If I were investing money from my wife's retirement account again, hands down, this would be at the top of the list. It checks off every item just like AOL did. Demand for its services is off the charts as the company's revenue has recently quadrupled. Its management team is elite, including the former CEOs of MGM and Bayer, a highly regarded MIT scientist, and a billionaire businessman. They specialize in a revolutionary technology, one that could transform every industry on the planet. And they're a market leader in an industry that's projected to be worth $4 trillion in the coming years. The similarities to AOL, before the stock made me $100,000 over 12 months, are uncanny. But unlike AOL, this company's technology stands to disrupt many more industries than just the internet. I'll get into more detail in a moment, but here's the most important part. You could load up on shares today without breaking the bank, and in a short time you could be sitting on the payday of a lifetime. This stock could soar by 1,000% over the next couple of years. Over the long term, I could see you making 25, 50, even 100 times your money. It could help you beat the current surge in inflation, overcome rising interest rates, and even survive the unprecedented market volatility that's hitting investors so hard right now. This is perfect if you dream of turning a small investment of, say, $500 or $1,000 into extraordinary profits. I know it sounds crazy to think that a mere $1,000 could be the foundation of your retirement, but it happens more often than you'd think. For example, consider the group of farmers who invested in Coca-Cola when it went public. For every $4 they put in, they made $36,864 in pure profit. In all, 67 of those farmers became millionaires. And here's the thing. The rate at which these extraordinary gains occur has picked up dramatically thanks to the tech industry. I personally have built a career on finding single stock market wonders in the tech industry. I recommended Netflix on national television when it was just $7.78 a share. In less than a decade, it was worth 4,200% more. I bought Apple at a split-adjusted 35 cents. It's up more than 40,000% since then. I invested in Amazon at $48. Last I checked, it was up more than 7,700%. And today, there's a new industry on the rise. It's likely one you're not familiar with, but over the next few years, it's expected to be worth $4 trillion. That's more than the value of the global auto industry. And just like how Amazon and Netflix position themselves at the forefront of the tech revolution, the $4 stock I'm going to share with you today is making all the right moves to be at the forefront of this rapidly growing industry. In fact, the industry is growing so rapidly, the stock could have gone beyond its $4 price by the time you see this presentation. But don't worry, as long as you get in while it's still under $10, there's still massive gains to be made. That said, the lower the price you get in at, the better it is for you. The best part is you won't have to learn any crazy stock market strategies or complex investment methods to take advantage of this play. All you have to do is buy shares of a single stock today and watch as demand for this world-changing tech grows exponentially. I have to admit, as a value investor, this kind of recommendation is out of the ordinary for me. But this is no ordinary stock. In fact, everything about it is so extraordinary, I have no hesitation in calling it the perfect 10 stock. Apple, Netflix, Tesla, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Facebook are all examples of near-perfect stocks, but they fall just short of being a perfect 10 on my stock grading checklist. Take a look. Note that I like stocks trading under the radar. Now, you might think I'm making a big deal out of a very insignificant difference, but I cannot stress enough how important this difference is. Because it's flying under the radar, you can catch the stock early, before it goes mainstream and really takes off. Yes, it might seem impossible that a stock which ticks all of the boxes is virtually unknown, but that's the beauty of this particular stock. If I had to guess, I'd say only 1 in 40,000 people have even heard of it. It's not surprising since this company is 1/400th the size of Apple. But remember, this exact type of situation is how I personally made $100,000 in 12 months. This is one of my best personal gains, and while there's no guarantee for future performance, there's one company that I feel could meet, if not surpass, AOL's performance. You see, just like AOL in 1997, there's more to this company than its price tag and small size suggests. For one, it uses the most advanced technology on the planet. 2, it has multi-million-dollar contracts with some of the biggest companies in diverse industries. I'm talking about every industry from tech and beauty to pharma and beverage to energy and plastics. Because of its universal application, it has deals with some of the most important countries of the world: Germany, Canada, USA, Japan, Australia. Soon it could be in every other country too, which is why I'm rushing this presentation to you. To get the most out of this tiny stock, you must take decisive action today. Here's why. Virtually all technologies go through the S cycle, which has a specific tipping point. Once they hit this point, they explode. Take computers, for example. For decades, the cost of owning one was so prohibitive that only a handful of companies and people in the world owned them. But by the mid-1980s, that had changed dramatically. The cost dropped to a reasonable amount, and personal computers began appearing in offices and homes all over the globe. Same with the internet. For many years, few people understood it. Early on, you needed to know an entire protocol language to use it, and even those who mastered that part couldn't afford it or get access to it. But once dial-up services like AOL hit the mainstream, suddenly families all over the world could sign on to the internet from their homes. The mobile phone, too, had to wait more than a decade before hitting its tipping point. For years, the most you could do was make a phone call, and that was if you could find an area that wasn't a dead zone. Reception was poor, and at $4,000, it was too expensive for most people to have one. You couldn't text, watch videos, or access the internet. Today, you can get a smartphone for 1/10 of that price, and they have thousands of features that are integrated into virtually every aspect of our lives. That's why more than 80% of the world now uses one. In the same way, the technology today's stock represents has been silently bubbling under the surface for close to 2 decades now. The only reason it didn't become mainstream was because it was too expensive. But over the past 20 years, as more companies, industries, and governments are beginning to use the technology, the economies of scale have started kicking in, and the price has plunged. In fact, the cost of programming the chip on which this technology runs has fallen so dramatically, it now costs 1/10,000,000th of what it cost just 20 years ago. Which is why I say this technology is at its tipping point right now. It could fully cross over any day now. And when it happens, I believe the company will be in extremely high demand and it will enter its hyper growth phase. Their deals will multiply exponentially and the stock could explode. Right now, my research shows the stock is as big an opportunity as Amazon, Netflix, and Apple were before they exploded higher. In 1997, Amazon was one of the greatest investment opportunities of all time. In 2002, it was Netflix. In 2003, it was Apple. And this year, all evidence points to this inflation beater being the biggest opportunity of 2022. Here's why. This company went public less than a year ago, and already massive deals are pouring in. A strategic merger with a Swiss multinational firm, a $100 million deal with a Fortune 500 German corporation, a $122 million deal with a Canadian company, a partnership with the government of Australia, a partnership with a $21 billion Japanese firm, and the company even received $1.1 billion from the US government for a critical homeland security project. These are all incredible deals for a company that trades for less than $5. The best part about most of the deals this company makes with its customers is that the deals are both fee and royalty based, which means the company gets a lump sum of cash at the beginning of the deal, and once the deal is done, the money never stops coming. In a way, it's like Apple's apps. Every time you pay for something using an app on your iPhone, call an Uber, order food on Grubhub, watch a movie on Netflix, or whatever else, 30% of the revenue goes to Apple. In the same way, whenever the customers of this company make a profit using this company's product or service, they have to keep giving a slice of the profits to the company. Based on all current partnerships and the amazing royalty structure, the company is already sitting pretty. Once future deals are inked, I expect this company to be raking in boatloads of cash. That's right, their revenue could skyrocket by 100%, 200%, 1,000%, or maybe eventually 5,000%. And guess what happens to a stock when its revenue grows like that? Investors swoop in droves and the price of the stock goes through the roof. A small stake today could secure you a considerable position, one that I have no doubt could turn into tens of thousands or even millions of dollars. But before I tell you how to take advantage of this company, let me briefly tell you a bit about myself. While my earlier single stock investments have set me up for a comfortable life, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. My parents were teachers who taught me the value of education and the importance of hard work. I started working when I was in 6th grade, delivering the local paper after school every day in a tiny town in rural western Massachusetts. I still remember my dad taking me to open my first bank account with my meager savings. I worked every summer through high school and was lucky enough to get into Harvard on a scholarship. But the scholarship and my savings weren't enough to pay my way through college, so my parents had to take out loans. The entire experience taught me valuable life lessons that have helped me stay grounded in spite of being in the media glare. You might have seen me on CNBC, Bloomberg TV, Fox Business, or in 2 different episodes of CBS's 60 Minutes. Or you might have read about me in Kiplinger's, The Wall Street Journal, The New York Times, Forbes, CNN, The Washington Post, or The Financial Times. During my time as a hedge fund manager, in addition to spotting and purchasing many companies that are totally dominating their space today, I also developed a knack for calling the top in certain stocks and assets. I called the exact day Bitcoin peaked in 2017, and the exact hour marijuana stocks would start their big collapse in 2018. And on March 23, 2020, the very day the stock market bottomed during the coronavirus crash, I told my readers, quote, "This is the best time to be an investor in more than a decade." Stocks have skyrocketed since then, regularly hitting fresh all-time highs. My track record of accurate market calls even prompted CNBC to nickname me The Prophet. To be honest, this nickname is a little embarrassing. The truth is, the biggest reason for my success is my research team and my network. Some call me, quote, one of the most connected men on Wall Street. My Rolodex today includes billionaire Wall Street legends like my longtime college friend Bill Ackman, Leon Cooperman, Joel Greenblatt, Seth Klarman, and David Einhorn, just to name a few. Did you know that fewer than 10% of fund managers beat the market? That's because they prefer to spread their risk by diversifying into dozens or sometimes even hundreds of stocks. Now, I'm not saying you should put all your money in one stock. All I am saying is that one stock can deliver extraordinary gains and be a game changer. AOL did that for me. It kickstarted my fascination with revolutionary stocks and rewarded me with a $100,000 payday. And it's not just me. Elon Musk could have easily retired as a millionaire with his earnings from PayPal, but he doubled down and put $200 million into pioneering electric vehicles. He admits he put his last cent into Tesla. He's now the richest man in the world by a long shot. And many regular Americans who understood the mission of the company and invested in it have become millionaires. In fact, so many of them became millionaires that they have a nickname, Teslanaires. Jason, an Amazon employee, initially invested $19,000 in Tesla in 2013. That investment alone is worth $2.7 million today. But he kept adding to that investment, and last year his stake was worth over $15 million. In January, Jason retired. He's now a free man. No 9-to-5 schedule, no bosses to report to. Talk about extraordinary. But it's not just Tesla. Bonnie, an out-of-work masseuse, was offered a part-time job to work at a startup firm with a funny name for $450 a week and a few stock options. She spent her meager salary to barely get by, but kept her shares for, as she said, a rainy day. 7 years later, she moved into her own 3,000 square foot house in Nevada, gets her own massages at least once a week, and has a private Pilates instructor. She even travels the world to oversee a charitable foundation she started. The startup with a funny name? Google. More than 1,000 Americans became millionaires in less than 3 years by investing in Google early. Apple created 40 millionaires in one day. And at last count, Microsoft has created over 12,000 millionaires who invested a few dollars in the company between 1986 and 2000. Of course, these are some of the best examples from history. And while not all perfect 10 stocks can create millionaires so consistently, they can change your finances forever. Take the stock I'm talking about today, for example. Forget today's low price. Even if you get it for anywhere less than $10 per share, all it will take for you to get started is just $500 or $1,000. Unlike most tech companies that started in somebody's garage or basement, the seeds of this company were sown in what is widely regarded as America's temple of science and technology, MIT. The company was started by an MIT professor who started taking courses at the institute at the age of 14. By the time he was a junior in high school, he got a summer position working for the head of MIT's Artificial Intelligence Laboratory. But after working for 30-odd years in software, computers, and artificial intelligence, he realized that the $5.2 trillion tech industry was only tapping into a small portion of electronics. You see, every computer programmer basically writes code to control the movements of electrons in wires and chips. But here's the thing, electrons don't exist in just wires and chips. In fact, every particle of matter in the world, every plant cell, every animal cell, every atom, has at least one electron. The professor came up with a breakthrough idea that would help control all these electrons. In the future, I expect we'll look back at this as the biggest breakthrough of our lifetime. Bigger than electricity, bigger than modern transportation, bigger than the internet, bigger than artificial intelligence. By writing code to control electrons outside of wires and chips, we can now expand computer programming beyond mere information transfer into the manufacturing world. Just like the way your current computer code forms words, images, sounds, and videos, this more advanced code can manufacture specific cells and tissues that can be used to create new materials, new medicines, new food, new fuels, new products, and so much more. Right now, you might not even understand the full potential of such a breakthrough. I don't blame you. Even the smartest people sometimes can't see the future potential of a breakthrough. Microsoft founder Bill Gates, for example, once said, "I see little commercial potential for the internet in the near future." When he was asked about the first iPhone, former Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer laughed and said, "Who needs a phone without a keypad?" And Ken Olsen, one of the greatest leaders in computer science, said, "There's no reason why anyone would want a computer in their home." They couldn't have been more wrong. To spot a moonshot stock before it takes off, you need to understand its full potential. What problems does the breakthrough solve? What barriers will it overcome? What will be the economic impact? Not just for companies, but for individuals, industries, and countries. And that's what I'm going to show you in this presentation. Imagine you fractured your leg and the doctor says you need a metal plate and screws to fix your bone. But rather than putting a metal plate with screws, what if you could repair your injury with an exact replica made with real bone tissue grown in a lab? What would you prefer inside your body? A piece of metal or a real bone tissue grown from the cells already in your body? And if you think this is science fiction, get this, it's already happening, and with great success. Look at Danny, an extreme sports enthusiast who suffered a serious leg injury in a car accident. Thanks to this revolutionary new technology, scientists grew new bone tissue in a lab to help him heal. Within 3 months, he was walking again. He even participated in a grueling triathlon shortly after. But the applications of this breakthrough technology go far beyond broken bones. By the end of this year, one company is on track to produce 1 million square feet of lab-grown leather per year. They already have partnerships with big names like Adidas and Lululemon. Tire company Michelin has partnered with a California company called Amyris to produce tires and rubber-based sports goods in their lab. Roswell ME Platform is putting electrons from nature into electronic circuits to create the first fully scaled organic semiconductor chips. This could single-handedly solve the global supply chain crisis and chip shortages. In 2011, Apple founder Steve Jobs said, "The biggest innovations of the 21st century will be the intersection of biology and technology." The convergence of technology and biology might sound familiar to you, but before you think this is just another biotech story, let me set the record straight. Just like making a call is only one small facet of a smartphone, biotech is just one small part of this new industry. In fact, just like with Google, a new word was added to the dictionary to describe this game-changing tech: SynBio. SynBio combines computer science with the most advanced technology on the planet, DNA software, to create new materials, new medicines, new fuels, new products, and more. But if you haven't already heard of SynBio, don't worry. Soon you'll be reading about SynBio in the Wall Street Journal and hearing about it every day on CNBC. Having recently traveled across the country to set foot in a fully functioning SynBio lab, I've personally seen a glimpse into what this technology can achieve, and I'm fully convinced we're finally opening the doors to the next industrial revolution. Ever since computers and digitalization launched the third industrial revolution, we've often wondered what the fourth industrial revolution will be. According to Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, the largest money manager in the world, here's what it will look like: a revolution in the manufacturing of everything we produce and a revolution in everything we consume, the process of creating fuel, food, and construction materials, all the needs that we have as humanity. We're talking about an entire industry that can be built from one single code. But instead of a code for software, it would be a code for manufacturing. See, SynBio experts put artificially intelligent machines together with natural cells and give clear instructions to the machines. With the help of precision technology and feedback loops, the machines are able to precisely break down each cell to their very basic code, their DNA. And once they have the basic DNA code, the machines are able to alter the code to get specific results. Let me give you an example. E. coli is a bacteria that lives in your gut and sometimes causes food poisoning. But by altering the code in its DNA, scientists at Harvard and Johns Hopkins were able to convert the bacteria into a biodegradable plastic. Imagine taking one cell of E. coli from nature, changing its code, and growing unlimited quantities of the altered E. coli to create good, clean plastic that does not harm nature. And because it's fully automated, we get a perfect result time after time without any human error whatsoever. From plastic to leather to medicines to tires to semiconductor chips to almost every other product we need and use, the possibilities are limitless. No wonder Steve Jobs pinpointed this industry as the biggest innovation of our times. And the $4 stock that I want to share with you today is at the forefront of this new industry. It's so far ahead of its competition, Forbes openly questions whether this could be the next Apple or Microsoft. With its potential spreading in every direction and touching every industry, I see this company more as the next Amazon. Even though its headquarters aren't in Silicon Valley, engineers, technologists, inventors, and investors from the Valley are following the stock closely. Some have already merged with this company, as they probably feel it's too huge to compete against. The company itself started back in 2008 as a small startup. It had a unique business model that allowed it to get a foot in every industry. Rather than competing directly with everyone, from Microsoft and Apple to Saudi Aramco, Johnson & Johnson, and the leaders in every industry, this new company writes code for SynBio platforms specific to these giant businesses. And with the help of the code, the companies can easily get synthesized raw materials that are far better and with less defects than the original raw material, and without the hassles of transatlantic and transpacific supply chains. For example, Kronos, a leading marijuana company, has already signed a 9-figure deal with this company to write the code for a marijuana plant and create a platform to generate the best THC and CBD. The $80 billion marijuana industry is just one example. The model is open to companies from every industry. When Apple launches their future iPhones, they are expected to have a special foldable screen. The complex material for those special screens can only be created using a coded SynBio platform. Pfizer relies heavily on this company for a special enzyme it needs for mRNA-based vaccines and drugs. IKEA's new specialized biodegradable packaging is being grown in a lab. The furniture giant has also invested heavily in fuel grown in a lab for their logistics. The company already has a SynBio platform for biofuels. The SynBio platforms for almost all of Amyris's industrial, healthcare, and personal care products are being created by this $4 stock. In essence, the business model is a lot like Amazon Web Services. AWS provides a cloud platform for companies to build, deploy, manage websites, and store data. Netflix, for example, pays AWS $19 million to use Amazon's platform every month. And that's just for starters. Twitch pays $15 million. LinkedIn pays $13 million. Facebook pays $11 million. Turner Broadcasting pays $10 million. The BBC pays $9 million. Baidu pays $9 million. ESPN pays $8 million. And Adobe pays $8 million. And Twitter pays $7 million. That's more than $1 billion every year just from 10 clients. AWS has hundreds of thousands of clients. And while all of them don't pay such high fees, it added up to over $60 billion in revenue in 2021. Without AWS's behind-the-scenes services, most of these companies wouldn't even be able to operate. AWS is absolutely essential to everything they do. In much the same way, my research shows this company will provide behind-the-scenes services to some of the biggest companies on Earth. If you think this is all very futuristic, it isn't. In fact, chances are you've already experienced it. The raw material for the Beyond Meat and Impossible Burgers you see in grocery stores and restaurants are a result of this technology. Even the Moderna and Pfizer COVID vaccines are products of SynBio. Normally, it would have taken up to 8 years to get a vaccine out in the traditional way. But thanks to a combination of technology and biology, scientists were able to come up with effective vaccines in under a year to combat the global pandemic. That's unheard of. But that's exactly what happens when manufacturers have full control of the raw materials they work with. They can shorten production time and do it with incredible precision. Potential like this has never been seen in the history of global business. The ability to control any electron in nature has suddenly opened a whole new playing field for manufacturers. They don't need to be satisfied with the raw materials available. They can create the best raw materials they want: wood, leather, cotton, plastics, rubber, paints. From foods to medicines, plastics to construction materials, it all boils down to programming code. And that's why this company spent the first decade of its existence quietly developing code in a state-of-the-art lab that is at the bleeding edge of both technology and biology. From a biology standpoint, it looks like no lab you've ever seen. And from a tech standpoint, the technology used here is more advanced than anything Apple or Tesla uses. In fact, as I've mentioned before, it's the most advanced tech on the planet. The company's code base is the world's largest reusable, standardized genetic parts list that includes proprietary code for developing proteins, enzymes, pathways, and cells. In other words, this company can solve any problem in the world that involves biology and tech. In my 25-plus years in this business, I've seen hundreds of little-known companies whose stocks are trading below $5. but not one of them have such a clearly defined master plan. 1. Quietly build the best and biggest collection of trade secrets in the world, the codes in the code base. 2. Demonstrate the power and effectiveness of the codes to institutional buyers and major governments. And 3. Go to market once the code base was absolutely unbeatable. The company is now at stage 3 of its master plan. It already has dozens of existing deals with enormous businesses like Bayer, Moderna, and Kronos. It also has over 15 critical projects with the US government and ongoing projects with other governments across the world. While most of the government info is classified, let me tell you all that I can about what this small $4 stock is doing to help the security of the world. The scientists of this company are working with the US government's intelligence agency, IARPA, on a program that can predict which viruses, even unknown ones, could potentially cause harm. Remember, these are just the deals they've already inked. As I mentioned before, this entire industry is at its tipping point. According to a McKinsey report, even a small fraction of the code base could have a global impact of as much as $4 trillion per year. In other words, since the code base has over 400 million proprietary codes, each proprietary code this company already has can create a $10 billion impact on the global economy per year, per code. The sheer significance of that is hard to comprehend. This could be the biggest investing opportunity of our lifetimes. Once even 1% of the code base potential is tapped, the annual sales of this company will cross the $100 billion mark, and its revenue should grow by more than 5,000%. Of course, by then, shares will likely trade much higher and may not have as much upside as they do right now. And in case you're wondering why this company will be in such high demand, ask yourself this. If you are the CEO of a $4 company and the products of this company could reduce manufacturing time and costs significantly and make your products better, would you look anywhere else? And speaking of looking elsewhere, there's the matter of trade secrets. For a company that makes hundreds of proprietary codes every day, it would take an administrative empire to patent every single idea or code. While patents are great, they have disadvantages. First, it takes forever to get a patent approved. That's why you hear the term patent pending so often. Second, to obtain a patent, you have to make a lot of disclosures. And when the patent expires, everything you work so hard for becomes public domain. Take Viagra, for example. Before its patent expired, Pfizer was generating more than $2 billion annually from this drug. After the patent expired, it dropped to less than $500 million. Over a few short years, 75% of the revenue just vanished. To avoid such losses in the future, many companies protect their intellectual property by using trade secrets. Trade secrets are similar to patents, only better because they don't expire, so nobody can get to their secrets, ever. The company I found uses this same approach. So, their proprietary tech is completely protected for as long as they wish. With over 3.4 billion codes already in the code base, this company is generating trade secrets faster than any company in the world. They already have over 400 million proprietary codes. It owns trade secrets for almost every material in the world that can be synthesized. Proteins, vaccines, medicines, fragrances, chemical-free dyes, biofuels, construction materials, cottons, leather, electronic components. And that's just for starters. The bottom line, for big companies to take advantage of the convergence of biology and technology, they will want to sign deals with this company. Since it already has access to over 400 million codes, it can deliver at the lowest price and in the fastest time possible. And yet, the stock is quietly flying under the radar. But I believe that's about to change. Trust me, I'm sure most brokers will tell their clients about this company any day now. And that's great for you, because you can start with just a modest sum and still have the chance to make huge gains in the coming months. Just like people who invested early in these obscure companies. You've probably never heard of a company called Badger Meters. It operates out of a little town called Brown Deer, Wisconsin. Chances are you use the company's products but don't know it. The company makes water meters. I know, it's a very boring business, but the company's products are indispensable, and that's what matters. Badger makes 1 million water meters per year and has been in business for more than 115 years. The company's products are in millions of US households. At a market cap of $3 billion, it's about 1/1000th the size of Apple. But their shareholders don't mind. Just as early investors in Apple saw massive gains, people who invested early in Badger meters saw gains as high as 27,864%. That's enough to turn every $10,000 into $2.7 million. I don't know about you, but I consider those extraordinary gains. And how about Medifast? It's a company based in Lansdowne, Maryland, just outside of Baltimore. It makes nutrition and weight loss products. In 2000, Medifast was trading at 22 cents a share. Last year, it peaked at $323. That's a gain of 146,718%, enough to turn every $5,000 into nearly $7.5 million. It's all about capitalizing on needs and situations. In the case of Badger meters, the need was in almost every U.S. household. In the case of Medifast, it took advantage of an alarming obesity trend in adults that's increased dramatically since 2003. Medifast came in at the right time and took advantage of the situation. It was in the right place at the right time. So was Monster Beverage. Today, it's a big brand, but for years, few people even knew it existed. Back in 2003, its shares were trading for around 8 cents. That's when the tipping point happened for the energy drink business, and there was no looking back. The stock, which was flat for close to 20 years, has grown like crazy ever since. Earlier this year, the stock was trading near $98. That's a 121,562% gain, enough to turn every $1,000 invested in 2003 into more than $1.2 million. Of course, Badger, Medifast, and Monster are some of the better examples. And while not every tiny company makes it like this, I believe you have a similar opportunity today in a company that's changing the world, has a huge head start over the competition, and is led by one of the most brilliant minds in the world today. This company's founder was closely involved in the development of the precursor to the internet. He was also involved in the development of the first artificial intelligence language, one that's still used today. Back in the 80s, he founded a computer company with 1,000 employees. According to one of the employees, quote, "It had more brilliant people in one small company than anybody I've ever worked for since. And one of the companies I worked for is Google, which has no shortage of brilliant people." His company had the very first .com address. At that time, he said, "The internet is going to be so big, we're going to run out of internet addresses." This was before Yahoo, Google, and AOL. Most people didn't even know what the internet was. Now he predicts even bigger things with this new industry that's bringing technology and biology together. And just as it happened with the internet, it's taken a while, but word is finally starting to get out. This company was already mentioned on 60 Minutes because the firm's technology was instrumental in the rapid development of the COVID-19 vaccine. While I'd wager not 1 in 1,000 investors has heard of this company, some of the biggest names in the world of tech are quietly investing in this new technology. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink has even said that the next 1,000 small companies that ultimately become worth $1 billion will come from this space. The company we are talking about has already gone way past the $1 billion mark and is attracting investors in droves. Bill Gates has invested $275 million in this company. Famed hedge fund Viking Global, which manages nearly $35 billion, has more shares of this company than it has of Amazon, Facebook, Tesla, and Microsoft combined. Vanguard has put in $245 million. BlackRock and Morgan Stanley have put in $136 million and $121 million respectively. And ARK Invest's Cathie Wood has invested $359 million. Cathie Wood says, "I don't think the financial world is ready for what's about to happen." What is set to happen is that this $4 stock will be critical to almost every industry going forward. Take, for example, pharmaceuticals. The pandemic gave a small peek into what this company can do. One of the biggest challenges of the pandemic was developing vaccines fast and then producing them in large numbers. And while Moderna and Pfizer came through in time, they would not have been able to meet the massive vaccine demand without the SynBio platforms supplied by this company. But that's just the start. This company has just partnered with a leading manufacturing expert to take the vaccine success well beyond the pandemic. Together, they have worked out how to boost the production of VCE, a specific enzyme that will be used in other vaccines and also medicines. This new method is 10 times more efficient than before. The company showed how it could take a single raw material and get 10 times more of that product faster and cheaper. And now it's applying the same efficient techniques to manufacture bacteria-resistant drugs, diabetes treatments, arthritis treatments, and even mRNA-based cancer drugs. This company is literally starting an entirely new supply chain for the pharma industry. Some of its big pharma partners include Roche, Moderna, and Biogen, to name a few. And pharma is just the tip of the iceberg. This company is working with the world's leading fragrance developer to help produce rare and expensive oils. It struck a 9-figure deal with a marijuana company to help produce 100% pure THC and CBD. It has a similarly lucrative deal with Bayer, one of the world's largest crop research companies. Thanks to early and massive success and proprietary codes in its code base, it is now gearing up to take share of the $79 billion data storage industry, the $580 billion plastics industry, the $5.8 trillion oil and gas industry, and the $10 trillion construction industry. I expect that investors everywhere will soon be talking about this company. That's why the time to buy is now, while the stock is still trading around $4. But as I've mentioned before, the window of opportunity is very small. Already this year, the company has inked deals that I've not yet disclosed here. The stock could take off any day now, and who knows how high it could go. Will it go as high as Moderna, which went from $15 to $440 in a space of 6 months? Or Netflix, which peaked at over $700? Or Tesla, which peaked at $1,222 a share? To be quite honest, if everything goes according to plan, this little company could chart its own course and set new profit standards. That's why I'd like to send you my latest report right now, the $4 inflation stock that could change your life. In it, I'll lay out everything I've uncovered in my in-depth investigation into this new industry and the one company that's going to be at the forefront of it all. I'll give you a detailed blueprint of the meteoric rise of its code base, which I believe will generate more than $100 billion in revenue every year. I'll highlight the current and upcoming deals with corporations, industries, and governments across the world. I'll also give you a full update of its core team and its massive US-based production facility. And of course, I'll give you the name and ticker symbol of this stock so that you can get started right away. If you act quickly, you can get in at as little as $4, right alongside the Wall Street legends who are currently loading up on shares. If you take a position right away, you'll be in position to profit every time this company pops up in the news or makes a new critical announcement. On the other hand, if you hesitate, this opportunity could be off the table as early as next week. This happens every time there's a rising star in the market. Those who recognize the potential move in quickly and see their lives change for the better. Again, I wouldn't ask you to do something I've never done before. When I first heard about Netflix, for instance, I wasn't sold on the company. But I eventually saw the way Netflix ticked all the boxes of a perfect stock. My investment in Netflix is one of the reasons why I'm a millionaire many times over. Does that mean you should bet it all on one stock? Absolutely not. But it means you should make sure you bet on the stocks you believe in the most, like I did with AOL, Apple, Netflix, and Amazon. Now I see a similar situation playing out with this company. That's why I'm spreading the word to you today. For me, knowing I have enough money in the bank has changed my entire outlook. I'm the master of my own time. I have the time and money to do the things I care about, like spending a weekend training with Navy SEALs, or taking part in the world's toughest mutter competitions, or running marathons. Mountaineering is my passion. I'm proud to say I've scaled some of the toughest peaks in the world. I recently went to Africa to visit my parents who are doing charity work and have retired in Kenya. Here's a picture I took of a mountain gorilla in the jungles of Rwanda from just a few yards away. And each Christmas I bake homemade cookies and send them to Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger as a thank you for everything they've taught me. It might be a small thing, but it's important, and having the freedom and time to do it is priceless to me. They say money can't buy everything, and while there is truth in that, it can help buy your freedom. Real freedom can be life-changing, and I believe investing in this company, as long as its stock price is still below $10, could help you achieve the retirement of your dreams. All the details are in your special research report titled, The $4 Inflation Stock That Can Change Your Life. If we were selling this report, it would be valued at least $199. But rather than sell it, I want to give it to you. In just a moment, I'll show you the easiest and quickest way to get your hands on this report. But first, I want to make sure you get the absolute maximum in return for the time you spent with me today. The thing is, if you're anything like me, I know you won't want to stop at just one stock. Once you get the winning bug, it can be addictive. Nobody knows this better than me. I could have easily stopped with Netflix, Apple, or Amazon, but I didn't. And I'm glad I didn't, because I would have never found this $4 stock. Just like SynBio, there are other disruptive technologies that are breaking through right now. One of them is the brand new concept of 3D internet, which I think is sure to change the way you live, eat, sleep, and travel, which is why I'm going to give you a special bonus report that will help you take full advantage of this breakthrough tech too. The newest iteration of the internet is taking place right now. It's a 3D version of the internet that's going to make all kinds of interactions possible without having to leave your home. Visiting your doctor, seeing your grandchild in Europe, attending live events and concerts, going to the bank, even traveling. The possibilities are limitless. The 3D internet experience will be so immersive and interactive, it will be difficult to keep people away from it. No wonder Apple invested $6.3 billion into this new tech. Facebook has invested more than $12 billion and counting. And Microsoft just invested an incredible $70 billion to be at the leading edge of this new internet. And as big tech goes all in, it's already creating massive investing opportunities. My team and I have zeroed in on 5 stocks that you can take advantage of. Number 1, the 3D internet shocker that wiped out a $630 billion success story. 2, the 3D internet stock hidden to most investors. 3, the backbone of the 3D internet. 4, the cryptocurrency that will ride the 3D internet wave. And 5, the 3D internet's biggest impact zone. In my new report called 5 Ways to Earn 10x on the 3D internet, I'll give you all the details, including the name of these investments, their ticker symbols, and my instructions on how to get in at the best possible price. By now, you must be eager to know how you can get these 2 incredible reports, and I'll let you know in exactly 1 minute. But I know some of you might be a little more conservative and might wait for these industries to fully take off before investing in them. I understand. But since you've been patient enough to sit through this presentation, I'm going to give you one more bonus stock that you can buy right away. You simply can't find any stock as conservative and as low risk as this, period. One hedge fund I follow closely recently described this company as, quote, an impenetrable fortress. I agree, and that's why I'm recommending it today. Again, while I continue to pound the table for SynBio and the 3D internet, this stock absolutely belongs in your portfolio as well. It has weathered financial crashes and economic downturns unscathed. And as far as I know, in the over 6,000 stocks in the stock market, there is only one that fits the description exactly. Every detail you need to know to invest in this impenetrable fortress is compiled in a special report titled America's Ultimate Crash-Proof Stock. That's 3 reports in total. Special research report, the $4 inflation stock that can change your life. Bonus report number 1, 5 ways to earn 10x in the 3D internet. And bonus report number 2, America's Ultimate Crash-Proof Stock. Free copies of these reports are already being sent out to the dedicated readers who have opted in to get my research. I invite you to join them. For nearly 20 years, I worked as a hedge fund manager in Manhattan. My clients were some of the wealthiest people in the world. A handful were billionaires who had access to the best Wall Street hedge funds. But I recently decided to allow people from all walks of life, teachers, doctors, lawyers, small business owners, and retirees to easily access my work. So I started a project called Expire Financial Research. Since then, I've recruited some of the best investment analysts in the world to join me at what's become one of the fastest growing independent research firms in America. We will introduce you to opportunities you won't hear about anywhere else. We're an independent publisher of financial research, which means we don't own or trade the stocks we recommend, and we don't accept advertising. The way we do business is by giving you great ideas and advice so you have the chance to achieve profitable investing results. As part of Expire Financial Research, you can access my best ideas at a fraction of what wealthy, sophisticated investors used to have to pay me as a hedge fund manager. You don't have to pay the 2% of assets and 20% of profits fees hedge funds typically charge. You don't have to pay the $5,000 I used to charge for a single investing seminar. Today, access to my best money-making ideas comes at a pittance. It's the best bargain on or off Wall Street. Okay, so I've told you about 3 special reports so far that I want to send you right away. Special research report on the $4 inflation stock that can change your life. Bonus report number 1, 5 ways to earn 10x in the 3D internet. And bonus report number 2, America's ultimate crash-proof stock. These reports are the first things I'll send you when you start a no-risk trial subscription to my latest comprehensive investment research advisory called the Empire Stock Investor. Once you're in, each month, I'll show you our favorite new investment recommendation to buy and update you on everything we've already recommended. In other words, you'll always know exactly what to buy and what to sell. You'll have time to digest our research at the beginning of each month and know exactly how to execute our plan if you decide to follow our recommendations. Plus, every day the markets are open, I'll send you my daily emails, Empire Financial Daily and Whitney Tilson's Daily, which address the most important issues affecting you and your money. Of course, all investments carry risk, and our past performance is no guarantee of future success. At 23%, our average gain since inception is higher than many advisories who started with us. But that said, no matter what you invest in, never invest more than you can afford to lose. I cannot stress this enough. My success in the investing world is only because my investing strategies are created around minimizing risks. I treat your money with the same amount of caution that I treat my own. This is why folks almost always have very nice things to say about my work. For example, Chip T said, "I don't subscribe to any investment newsletters, but I'm thrilled to be a charter member to this and your future offerings. You're not only an outstanding investor, teacher, and communicator, but outstanding pretty much across the board. I know the ideas you share will continue to contribute to my success." Another subscriber, Jess S., wrote, "I got my partnership fees back in a few months. Looking forward to receiving your recommendations for years to come." I'm proud of what we've built at Empire Financial Research, and I'm proud to say that if you subscribe, you'll be among elite company, including Wall Street legend Joel Greenblatt, who manages $9 billion at Gotham Capital. As he said, "I met Whitney in my class in Columbia Business School. We've become good friends. He's an excellent investor and most importantly, a great teacher. I'm going to enjoy being a subscriber to his new research service." Another person on my email list is John Petrie, who manages about $1 billion. He said Whitney is one of the most connected investors I've met. He's been able to tap into an infinitely deep and unique network of people to come up with great insights into ideas and develop them that other people just can't do because they don't have the kind of network he does. I truly believe my daily email is the best place to find and exchange investing ideas in the world today. There's simply nothing else like it. And when you start a subscription to my Empire Stock Investor, I'll immediately add you to my Empire Financial Daily and Whitney Tilson's Daily email lists. To sum up, by taking advantage of this offer today, you'll receive 1. A special research report, the $4 inflation stock that can change your life. 2. A bonus report, 5 ways to earn 10x on 3D internet. 3. Bonus report on America's #1 crash-proof stock. 4. The next 12 months of Empire Stock Investor. I'll send you a new report on a new investment idea and any changes to our model portfolio on the first Wednesday of every month. You'll get 12 issues in all. 5. My Empire Financial Daily and Whitney Tilson's Daily emails. Each day the markets are open. Soon you'll be part of a small collection of like-minded folks, which includes some of the wealthiest investors in America. 6. You'll get full access to all of my archived research reports and recommendations. So how much does this all cost? Well, that might be the best part. Normally our work costs a minimum of $199 per year for individuals, but today you can get started with a trial subscription for more than 75% off, just $49 for the next full year. That's less than $1 a week to get the same research that billionaires use to grow their wealth. Keep in mind, clients have paid tens of thousands of dollars to access our research, and it's worked for them. Of course, you've also got to understand that in the world of investing, timing is everything. Remember, the pace of innovation in SynBio is now moving faster than ever. Back in 2002, there were just 3 total SynBio patents granted. Fast forward to 2020, and the number jumped to 617 new SynBio patents. That's a growth rate of about 34% a year. And if I add trade secrets, we're looking at hundreds of millions at the same time. One industry group says the startup money SynBio companies raised last year alone was close to what was raised in the previous 12 years combined. The frenzy in this space has already begun in the private sector. Soon it will hit the public stock markets too, and I want you to be there first. Trust me, you're going to start seeing this idea everywhere. Wired magazine recently published an article stating SynBio is the most important technology of this century. The New York Times recently ran a long piece about SynBio concluding money is pouring into this field. Other big articles have appeared in recent months in publications like The Economist, Forbes, Fast Company, The Wall Street Journal. The list goes on and on. More importantly, word about this incredibly undervalued SynBio stock is starting to get out. Barron's calls it the next big thing in a niche investment category. And on Reddit, one of the most trafficked websites on the internet, people are already asking the question, is this company going to completely monopolize SynBio? Investment bank Raymond James says it's on the forefront of a revolution. And I want you to be at the forefront of the investment money that will be headed in the direction of this $4 stock. Listen, we're living in tough times. According to CNBC, inflation is costing the average U.S. household an additional $317 per month over the same time last year. That's $3,804 every year. And my sources tell me it's only going to get worse, which is why you need an inflation beater now more than ever. If you get in quickly before this little-known stock explodes, you can position yourself, without investing too much, to not only stay ahead of the inflation curve, but live the life of real freedom that you deserve. To make it easy for you, my team and I have put together all the research you need to get started in a low-priced and low-risk approach. You may have subscribed to an investment newsletter before, but I believe I'm going to be sharing ideas with you that are unlike anything you'll find anywhere else. If you take action today, you'll have already gotten in well ahead of the curve, and you'll be positioning yourself perfectly to make extraordinary gains with just one stock. And the best part is, there is no risk to you whatsoever. You see, the trial subscription to Empire Stock Investor is backed by a 100% money-back guarantee. If, after reviewing everything I send you, you decide that our research is not for you, no problem. Simply cancel your subscription online or over the phone in the first 30 days, and you'll get a full refund of your subscription fee, no questions asked. To get instant access to everything I've described here, and to review this offer once more before submitting your order, click the Order Now button below, which takes you to our online order form. Thank you for your time. I hope you're as excited about this development as I am, and I hope you take the steps to benefit from this incredible trend that's about to change our world and capture investors' attention. Again, to access everything I've described here in a matter of minutes, just click the Order Now button below, which will take you to our secure order form.